You look so handsome today.
Thank you. Dude, that countdown was handsome.
Yeah.
That was handsome.
I
Went down like a military portal.
yes. Either that or it was all camoed out and you had no idea where to look.
I couldn't see anything. It was just a countdown.
I gotta thank Manny from the Chamorro Cinema. He graciously made that intro for me for free. And all he said was, Chris, just make sure that you plug a channel that needs a little bit of help. So with that being said, I just want to give a shout out to Navs Comics, NAVS Navs Comics. He's a regular watcher of Slab Hub that happens every Saturday, usually on Rob's Fat Stack of Comics. He's a good dude, and every time I show that intro, I'm gonna try and carry on what Manny asked me to do, and by plugging a channel that maybe not everyone's heard of just yet. So, Manny, again, thank you very much for your kindness. I greatly appreciate it, and it's a hell of an intro. And I gotta admit, I asked Manny to do it because Mark's is a kick-ass one that he has whenever he goes live.
Mine was made by Lee over at Whack Comics in Australia,
Right.
and he did it because he was sick of my lowbrow content. That's how my channels come together. Chip was sick of the audio, so he sent me a microphone. Justin from Justin Comics was sick of my crappy video, so he sent me a camera. This community is amazing or offensive. I don't know how to take it.
Well, if anyone's tired of me hosting my stuff on my phone, feel free to send me a desktop.
Yeah.
But anyways,
just send one to Remy Q. So it has been done.
It has been done. Yes. Just a handful of comments in the comments right now. The Southern Comic Geek has joined us and said, "Hulk, smash that like button." Thank you very much for joining us, my man. And Scott from Hoarder's Hide, dumb fans happen here. Mark, you want to? You got a take on that one?
Yeah, I mean, he can call himself whatever he wants to call himself. He's the one in the chat. I'm there with him.
But
why are you taking it back?
So I do have to give a shout out to the cool guy that made the thumbnail for this video and the one that you can see on IG right now that hopefully somehow you've spotted that linked us to this. And I gotta let everyone know who made this incredible thumbnail is like literally right beside me. So thank you very much, Mark.
On your way home, moments before the thing, yeah. Dude, I've told you they're fun to make now. I don't. That's like the only thing
you don't dread it.
Is how to make a thumbnail.
Right. Dale has joined us. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate your time. And Phil Ailing, hello all. Thanks for joining us, Phil. And today's topic is something that Mark and I have talked about for a very long time, usually backstage. And we talked about a set of particular grails that two of us have been, I want to say, working on for our entire lives. Like, is that fair?
That's a good way to put it. That actually kind of materialized in recent months.
Right. When I first started going live on YouTube, as most of you know, it was on Mark's channel, and I noticed right away that Mark had a Hulk 181 behind him. It's not there right now because he's flexing his Raf Grassetti work. Is that what that is? There it is. And I remember saying to Mark, "My God, 4.5, you're sitting on like $4,000 or $5,000 just before the bubble started expanding." And I just said to him, like, I was very jealous of it. That's the holiest of holy grails. If you're a Wolverine fan, and it's a blue chip book that will never ever go down, it'll just continue to climb. It's just a question of how fast it goes up.
It's really like the second place grail for Hulk fans, just second or third. I mean, it's in the top 5 behind the first one, and maybe like that second issue being the first Green Hulk. So it's huge for Hulk fans and pinnacle for Wolverine fans.
Absolutely. There's nothing higher for Wolverine fans as far as I'm concerned. And most hardcore collectors, they try to have a 181 in their collection. Let's be honest. If you're a hardcore collector, if you spend a little bit of money, you have that Hulk 181, or you've had it in your collection. Anthony, thanks for joining me, my man. Just so you know, I'm always checking out your stuff on IG. I love looking at pictures of New York City. It's one of my favorite places on earth. And so a little while ago, I managed to get my hands on a Hulk 181 as well. I aired it in a video basically talking about a bunch of grails that I had picked up There's Mark's holiest of holy grails right there. And I showed off a low grade, because low grade is better than no grade, 181, that I finally got my hands on. I can remember it was the final part of that video that I showed, and I actually kind of got choked up, because for many years I never thought that it would be something that I would achieve, because the big book that I achieved first in my life was The Amazing Spider-Man issue #1. And second place would always go to Wolverine's first appearance. Well, I did manage, like I said, to get my copy of Hulk 181 as well. Like I said, no grade is better, or low grade is better than no grade, so 1.5, off-white pages. Could it use some TLC? Absolutely. Will it come back at 2.0? Who knows? So what Mark and I want to do in this video is show, or tell a little bit of the story about how we've achieved finally the holy trilogy of Wolverine. Like I said, I finally got my chance to purchase 181, and before so, I actually won a very nice copy of 180, which is considered the first cameo of Wolverine. A lot of people would say that it's his first appearance. However, it is what it is. It's tagged as cameo nowadays. That's a debate for another day, whether it's Wolverine's first appearance. I'm not going to go down that road right now. And you'll get there, my friend. You'll get there, Dale. Anyways, I was opening a torpedo mystery box where the grand prize was a Hulk 180 high grade. And I pulled off the miracle. I won it. I believe that video I did back in November, maybe October. It was based in my car. And fast forward months later, the book finally reaches my home. And this is what it is. It's actually a Hulk 180 8.5 Mark Jeweller's insert variant. So what it's worth, I don't know. The fact that it's the Mark Jeweller's insert obviously increases the value. To which point, that's for everyone to debate. But this is said Hulk 180 8.5.
That's insane.
And you can see there the Mark Jeweller's insert. Now, Mark, why don't you show me your big one?
Well, first off, congrats on that. That's like there's levels to how awesome that is, from the grade to the price you paid for it to the Mark Jeweler. Like I said, I got the 181. I actually bought this from my LCS owner before the market exploded, and which is awesome because me and my LCS owner go way back to before I was even born. So it's cool that I have his copy. And then I went into a different shop here locally just to go grab some Tales to Astonish random back issues if they had any. And the Hulk 180 I saw was just sitting on the wall one day. Just it was a consignment item, and I saw it sitting up there. I'm like, what? Thought that was crazy. It's an older CBCS label, which I don't care about.
Right.
I have a mixed collection of slabs. Doesn't bother me at all. No PGX though. And I asked him about it because it was just such on a whim, and they're not little books. I asked him if he could do layaway on it, and he said he can't because it's a consignment item. And I was the second person that day to ask about it. And as I'm sitting there talking to that shop owner, the gentleman walks in the store, and the LCS owner says that's actually the other guy who asked about it earlier. So I assumed he probably left, got some funds together, and was coming back. So I didn't let the book go. At that point, I just handed it to the LCS owner and told him I'll take it. So that one I scored in a 4.0, which is
beautiful, excellent,
semi-affordable grade. I mean, that's not cheap still.
No, it's not.
And it's kind of coincides with the grade of my other one really closely. So I was definitely happy with that. Very excited to have got it in. I mean, it's a clean cover, nothing written on it or ripped on it. It's clearly never been pressed, like clearly. So with the pressing, I could probably get it to match my 181 if I decided to do that one day. I probably won't though.
But so flash forward months later, Mark and I are talking about both having 180 and 181. and we're saying, would it be cool to finally get the 182 just to knock off the trilogy?
Just kill it.
Just kill it off. Just
Get it
kill it
over.
off and display it, you know,
Rip the Band-Aid off.
in all its great Canadian glory.
Ha ha ha.
But anyways, I remember Mark and I were talking about it one Sunday night after Mark's flagship show on his channel at Week's End. And a couple days later, I go to my LCS for New Comic Book Day. And lo and behold, what does he have in his case right there? But a Hulk 182 mid-grade, and he's only asking a couple $100 Canadian for it. So right away, I said to the owner, put that in my bin. Can we work out a deal? So we worked out a deal, and he literally took it out of his cabinet, put it into my treasure trove of weekly pulls, and kept it there. And then the next week, when I had the cash on me, came in and paid cash. So this is my completion of the Holy Grail. Mine is an older CGC label, so this book has probably not been TLC'd at all, but it's Hulk 182 and a very cool 5.0. Like I said, this book cost me 200 Canadian, and it's off-white to white. As you can see, it's the older label, so I don't know if it's actually been pressed, but the book does look very, very good. There is a couple little dings, or not dings, but kind of rolling of the corners. So I think that if it did get some TLC, if it was cleaned up and pressed, maybe it could come back a little bit higher. Whether I want to do that or not, I don't know at this point in the game. I'm just happy to finally have all three. So that's the one thing that Mark and I have been talking about is we got to finish this. And when we do it, let's go live and talk about the fact that we finally knocked off 180, 181, and 182. Here's the kicker. When I contacted Mark to say, Mark, I finally got my hands on one, Mark responds, oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out because that was really critical. Like 2 days after you mentioned it, I'm like, great. I mean, it's still a couple $100 book, and I was about to leave for vacation. So while I was on vacation, I just went on eBay and bought one straight out. Like, it's a very easy to find book. It's all over the market. So I went and got a specific grade that I even wanted. And I wasn't looking for a high grade. I wanted it to kind of match my set. At this point, I'm absolutely sure I can probably get all three to match with that 180 not having been pressed. But I just went on there and straight up did a auction. Yeah, I did an auction of mine. And for those that don't know how to do auction on eBay, you just wait to the last minute when there's 3 seconds left and put in your willing to pay price. Despite what the price is sitting at, just put whatever you are willing to pay. And you'll either get the book for a price that you're very happy with, or it wasn't your copy. So I got mine at a 4.5 to match my 181.
Very nice.
This is a ridiculously clean copy. There's really nothing going on with it, except there's a schmegma right there. And everyone should go Google that word schmegma if you're curious what that is. And then on the back, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to. Oh, yeah, there it is. You see that little.
Yep.
Where the hell did it go? There. You see that little crease key there?
Yep.
Now, when I look close at it, it looks like it might be going through the page. It doesn't necessarily look like a crease, but it could possibly be a tear on the back cover. But we'll never know because CGC sucks with graders notes. But here it is. Happy with the grade, the one I wanted. Colors are great on it. Awesome cover. First appearance of Hammer and Anvil. First appearance and death of Crackerjack Johnson. And that final Wolverine one panel, one page cameo in this.
Where he walks away in shame. The Canadian government tells him to walk away in shame. Shame. Shame.
You have failed this country.
So yeah,
absolutely happy to have completed that. Like it just wow.
There it is.
And also, like that's a huge milestone for trying to complete those first 100 issues of Incredible Hulk. You know, those are the big books like that and 141. And there's a couple smaller keys in there, but like over the hump. You know what I mean?
I get you. I kind of, I don't want to say like I fell into mine because of the 180 that I managed to pull off the win from a torpedo mystery box. But yeah, would I be able to afford this in an 8.5? No, there's just no way. There's no way I'm spending what this book is potentially worth on an 8.5. Because I'll be honest, like this one cost me just around 1,600 US, and that's $1 million here in Canada, and that's a lot of money. And so
8.5 sold for over $3,000.
In the 180.
Yeah.
But like I said, this has the Mark Jewelers in there, so whatever the multiplier is, or whatever, if you want to throw $100 on that, whatever it is, so be it. But my grades aren't as neat and tidy as what Mark's are across the board. Mine are kind of all over the place.
They average out.
But yeah. But the 8.5, 1.5, and 5.0, and Mark, you and I would both agree the 182 is obviously the most affordable of them all. But again, I get really sentimental when I look at this, just because I fell in love with the character when I was 12 and 13 years old, and at that point, it was always that book that was just out of my price range. Whether as a teenager, it was $100 book, and then in my 20s and 30s, and it being like $300 or $400 or $500, and then it just kind of worked out. And Mark's dad, thanks for joining us.
What up, Pop?
And yeah. Maybe one day I will crack this and have this cleaned and pressed by someone who I can trust. But I'm not there at that point. I got to admit, I'm not at that point where I'm like, yep, I want this to come back the best that it can. I'm just happy to have it. It's home.
And the timing on all this happening couldn't have been better. Like, it all kicked off before the market explosion, with the kind of the hardest to get one out of the way, in a way, because with yours, like, that high grade puts that one at your most valuable, and that one you hit the lottery on. That was amazing. So, and then with the the X-Men being heavily rumored to be coming really soon to the MCU, we all know what that's going to do to these books. Wolverine is a fan favorite easily, and whether they go X-23 in the MCU first or Logan first, no matter what, it's not going to lower the hype of this character or these books. These are going to go nuts. And that 181 is already at the point where it's considered a heavily unobtainable book. It's just not there for most people, and you kind of just got to get lucky, right place, right time for that one. And everyone's right place and right time will be different. Mileage varies, but that book is way up there.
Yeah, I agree, and you hit the nail on the head. We're talking about a character, essentially two characters that are both household names. There's a generation of children now that's named Logan because their dads fell in love with the character Wolverine. Like, I know a few young people named Logan, and whenever I talk about it, they're like, "Yeah, I named my kid after Wolverine." I'm like, "Oh, maybe I should name my kid Peter." But anyways,
after what conceived him.
But I digress. Again, we're talking about two characters that are household names in both the Hulk and Wolverine, and fam, Mark and I have been talking about how cool would it be to spotlight the fact that we basically knocked off the Wolverine trilogy at the same time in our lives after we became friends, and just to show everyone that it's achievable. It's
and neither him or I are rich people at all.
No, it's not at all.
It's not what you got; it's how you come at it. Sometimes it really is.
And again, every book has a story, especially when that book is really important. So, like I said, a lot of dumb luck. Timing is everything. And visiting your LCS at the right time for me. When the go pops, let's make it
day now. Any day now.
Yes, for those that are interested in Wendigo, now's your chance. But yeah. So, Mark, how did you come across your 181?
It was bought by my LCS owner. So there's a little bit more to it. So I'm like always watching for certain key books to pop up in the wild, because I mean you can go pay primo price for stuff whenever you just have to have it, but primo price for 181 is not necessarily obtainable. So there had been like, this was actually the third copy that came through local here in town within a 2 month period. The first one came through, and I got the notification for it a little late because I was working. So when I called and checked on it, there was somebody coming to already look at it, because I was like 3 hours late from the time that I got a message sent to me responding, and that person ended up buying it. So I was heartbroken. Second one came through, and the shop owner messaged me saying, "Hey, your 181 is about to come into the shop. Just giving you the heads up." I'm like, "All right, I'll be ready." The guy ended up getting cold feet, not letting it go. Sold a bunch of other stuff that he had, and I was absolutely heartbroken at this point. And then my LCS owner had went to our local comic show, and CGC reps were there, and he sent an old Batman book he had and his Hulk 181 in to get graded, just because he planned on moving them. And so months go by. Like, I didn't even know he'd submitted them. Months go by, and I'm in there, and he's like, "Hey, Mark, come back here. Let me show you something." So we go into the back, and he shows me his 181. I'm like, "Oh, my God, what are your plans with that?" He goes, "Oh, I want to sell it." I'm like, "Well, great, because I want to buy it." So he gave me a price, and I talked to the wife, and she's like, "You've got to get it." And lucky for me, I'm like a weird guy when it comes to change. I don't spend change. Like, literally, I do not spend change. Like, if something costs me $1.01, and all I have is a $1 bill and a $20 bill in my wallet, and there's tons of change in my car, I'll give them the 20 and I'll break that 20. So, and I bring the change home. I get coin rolls from my bank for free, and I roll it, and I store it up and save it or deposit it in my bank. But anyways, that being said, I paid for well over half of that book right out the gate with change that I had saved. So I literally bought it with change.
See, you saved your pennies for Hulk at 181.
Literally.
Good for you.
So when people are like, "It's unattainable," I literally spent change to buy my book. I actually had to get my brother to help me, because coin rolls get heavy. You know, and there's some of it in the bank, but the majority of it was elsewhere. So we just got change. We went to the bank. I deposited change, which is considered cash, into my account, which is an instant deposit, and then I withdrew actual dollar bills instead of handing somebody enough change to have to count it and wait.
Very good. How long have you had your 181 now?
Almost a year, probably getting closer to a year. It happened during the lockdown. I remember that. I think it did. Yeah, it hasn't been long.
Very good. Is it the corner piece of your collection now?
Oh yeah, it's the biggest book I have.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's my 1B. Like, it's hard. I don't think I could pick between it and my ASM one. It would be 1A and 1B, just because of what Spider-Man meant to me, and to finally get my hands on that book. And it was my first pick.
ASM one?
It's right here. It's a 2.0 off-white.
But it's signed by Stan
Yeah,
Lee.
but it's signed by Stan. Now, I didn't buy it signed. I bought it blue label, and I cracked it open and had him sign it in 2016. And it was, fondly enough, his last appearance that he ever made in Toronto. And it was actually my son that said, when I said to him, I'm like, "Do you think I should get Stan to sign this?" And my son was just like, "Yes."
Yeah. So the fact that you got it signed by Stan is even better.
Yeah.
Did the grade change, go down or up, or remain the same?
Oh, it remained the same. Thank the good Lord. I had a couple different pressers look at it over the time that I've had it. I've had it for a few years now, and they all basically said, we can, like, they've all said we can press it, but there's the chance of it actually going to a 2.5, just because it's a 2, is slim. And
at this point, it doesn't matter what the grade is, because that's your copy of ASM1 that you had Stan Lee sign personally. So there's no price on that memory. That's literally your souvenir from that memory. You can't tell the collector for you.
I remember he looked at it for that quick second, recognized what it was, and then signed it. And as he was signing it, I said, "Thank you for Spider-Man, Stan." And in that Stan Lee voice, he looked up at me and he said, "You're welcome." And that was it for me. And that's I've had 2 encounters with the man, and that one obviously is, the one that holds closest to my heart. Your father's saying that's how you saved up for your house, is by saving your pennies.
Saving up for my house.
But yeah, to agree with your father, yeah, it is priceless no matter what it is. And
that's what I call God tier. Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, my 181 and my ASM1, those are the crown jewels. So unless somehow I get my hands on an AF15, which I just don't ever see happening, they are the two. To me, there's nothing higher for myself.
Yeah,
that's all. But yeah,
ASM 129 sitting here locally right now.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you could have had it for $50.
No, it wasn't. Like the shop owner was like, he was having fun too, because I was just going through box of slabs that he has behind the counter down on the floor and stuff that aren't out like on display and everything. And they're all just like random stuff. Like this person submitted like anything he touched. And I'm flipping through all these slabs, like 70s books, 80s books, like Jack Kirby's Sandman #4. Like no inherent value at all. Like #1 is the first appearance Sandman. It's not even a sought after thing, but graded in an 8.5. Like it's not even like this is like a box of 9.8. It's just all over the place. I'm flipping through these $40 to $80 slabs, 7.5 crisp looking copy of ASM 129. I'm like, wait a minute. And I look at it. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you might get a kick out of that. I said, why isn't this out yet? He said, I don't know. I mean, that's lunch money to sit down there when you need it, I guess. He's not short on supply right now, because this isn't a new product store. It's just what he buys off that people bring in that he resells. It's really awesome. But it was a gorgeous copy. I'm just looking at it, waiting on my vision to correct for it to turn red. I'm like, this is the second. This got to be the reprint. No, it's the real deal.
Yeah, I've had a 129 in my hands before. It was a real low grade, a 1.5. It was real rough shape, actually, and I cracked it, and I had Jerry Conway sign it for me, actually, across the ASM logo across the top, and came back. There was no reduction or gain in the grade, still 1.5. I ended up flipping it one time to help pay for a trip to Tennessee that I took a couple of years ago.
Mistake. So how does it feel living in that regret?
Well, I got to see the Smoky Mountains. It's great. It's wonderful that I have this key book, a Grail, but then I also have the memory of going through Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and lighting a cigar at the base of the Smoky Mountains. So, it's c'est la vie. It's life.
So a lot of regret. You're just trying to convince yourself at this point. No, that's probably a good call. You can reobtain a better
right. And the thing is, like I mentioned, it was a low grade, 1.5, or maybe it was a 1.8. It may have been one of those two. I was in the Smoky Mountains the spring before COVID, so it would probably be 2.5 years ago now.
So would you sell it for about $800 on the high side?
No, I think I got like 500 US for it. Mm-hmm. So it was cool. There was the thing is, I can remember Conway signing it, but there was no story, so it's not much.
It doesn't be there in a million years. Shame.
And yeah, but I want to have a chance to light a cigar on them in a million years. But yeah, there's I can remember giving it to Jerry Conway, and there not being much of a story. It's paid him $10, thought sign the book, and it was just another interaction. It wasn't something like, I can remember almost every interaction of stuff that I have signed with anyone, and this one, for whatever reason, just didn't hit home. So I was okay with parting with it. Is it a Grail that I want to get back? Yes. Is it top of my list? Not right now. There are a few things I want to knock off before I go for 129. But to each their own, like there are guys that live and breathe the Punisher. Like slotted up 503 comes to mind. The Punisher is one of his favorite characters.
Comic Man Andy.
Yep. Comic Man Andy. And but yeah. So I think the best way to end this, Mark, is that we show again the 3 books that we finally achieved. I love it. And 182.
Yeah, I'm surprised how vibrant the colors are on this.
Yeah. I gotta admit, between the 3, I probably think my 182 is probably the brightest too. Even though the 180 is a 8.5. I gotta admit that color. That maybe it's just that the purple is so clean.
The ink on the paper is just different with that blue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the contrast of the blue and the yellow. I don't know.
But yeah, it's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so those that are still kicking around watching us, Mark, why don't you tell us what you got coming up for the next couple days?
I just had a new comic book day video drop today for next week of what I'll be picking up and reading. Tomorrow's At Week's End at 9 p.m. real time. That's Eastern time for those that aren't sure. And tomorrow night's going to be kind of a slightly different night. We're going to be talking a lot, spoiler talk on the new movie Shang-Chi that came out, because I've seen it. Chris has seen it. I've invited a couple of other friends of mine that have already watched it to come on so that we can actually get a good discussion and hopefully different points of views and perspectives on the film. I enjoyed it. It was definitely a fun movie to watch, but thought it'd be a good chance to actually talk that movie. I'm sure a lot of people will have been able to see it, and just the idea of going back to theaters as well. So we'll be doing a little bit of that. I got a lot of reading to catch up on, and then I've got a big CGC unboxing that is uploading for Monday. And then after that, who knows? I'm on that big push to 1K. I'm out, I think, like 947 subscribers. So I got huge plans for the 1,000 subscriber milestone. So I hope everybody subscribes and comes checks it out and has fun hanging out, talking comics with us fools right here.
So tomorrow you'll see the 2 of us again, 2 cool guys who hot picks, as we unleash our hot picks for this upcoming New Comic Book Day. I'll be at some point in the near future releasing a video that I've entitled The Killing Grail. You could probably guess what that is. It's another grail that I've got my hands on recently, another book that I'm very proud of. And then Wednesday, live from my car, doing what I do with New Comic Book Day. So Mark, thank you very much for joining me on my channel. It feels kind of weird that you're here as opposed to me being over on yours.
I like it. It's nice in here.
Yeah, it's cozy. It's cozy.
It's a little cooler up north, but it's nice to get out of Georgia for a little bit.
Well, folks, you'll see me tomorrow back in warm Georgia. And again, everyone, thanks for joining us. Until we see you again, take care and stay safe, everybody.